talking about the timeshare industry today, one of the scummiest of all industries, multi-billion dollars, and boy, do they throw their dollars and their weight around. They try to crush anyone who comes against them. They've been having a fit with me, I can tell you that. And all they've done is just piss me off instead of silence me. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. If you have been a victim of timeshares, or you own a timeshare, or you used to work for them and you got tired of screwing people, so you got out of there and you want to tell what really goes on behind the scenes, we all know, but love to hear from you. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Hal's got a horror story. He's in Evansville. Hey, Hal, how are you?
I'm doing fine. You, Dave?
Good, man. Tell me your story.
Good. Well, we bought back in the early 90s at Westgate in Florida, and you talk about them strong-arming you into buying. It wasn't really like that for us. What they said made sense to us at first, and so we bought, and we used it once or twice every few years, and we decided it was time to get out of it.
What'd you pay for it?
We tried and tried, and nothing that we said to them worked. They said they just yes.
Hal, what'd you pay for it?
It was about $20,000.
Okay, and so you used it a couple of times every 2 or 3 years, and then after how many?
Tell Dave Ramsey, it was one of the worst investments I ever made in my life.
And after how many years of using it a couple times every few years, did you want to get out?
Oh, after the first 5 years, we decided to try to get out of it.
So you had used it maybe 10 times?
No, not even that. Probably 5 times.
Okay, for $20,000. And you wanted to get out, and what happened?
Well, they said they do not buy them back. They suggested that I either try to rent it or give it away to someone, which is a joke, too, because, no people that have heard about them know that it's not a good investment, and you can't give them away.
Yeah.
And so
if you can't give it away, it's not an investment at all.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And there is no resale market for these at all.
None.
I mean, you can go online and look at what they are. Okay.
You can't even sell them for $1 because people don't want to take over the dadgum fees.
Exactly. And then about 3 years ago, they hit us with a $1,000 special assessment. I guess they're going to do some painting. And there's nothing you can do about that either. That's on top of what you're paying for maintenance and taxes every year. And so when about 3 years ago, when I was diagnosed with cancer for the second time, 2 weeks after my wife was diagnosed with cancer, I decided it was time to really start in earnest trying to get out of this thing. So I made some contacts and started networking with people who were sympathetic with my situation. And they referred me to an attorney who tried to help us as best she could. And I ended up on a witness list in a lawsuit that she was involved in. And that was really when Westgate took notice. When they saw my deposition and saw how damaging my testimony could be, out of the blue one day, they just called me and said, I hear you want to get out of your timeshare. Here, sign these documents and you're done. That's how I got out. I wish it was that easy for everybody, but it's not.
Wow.
But,
so you had to get their attention by punching them in the nose, in other words.
Pretty much.
So you call them up and go, I've got cancer, my wife's got cancer, and they said, toughies.
Exactly. Yeah. And it wasn't that easy because it took me sitting on hold for 30 minutes, waiting for someone to come online to even talk to me. And I wasted a lot of time on the phone, but it was worth it in the end because I did get out. But my poor dad has been dead for 12 years, and I still get a bill every year for his maintenance and taxes.
And I hope you don't pay that.
Oh no. But I called them and told them that he's deceased. His estate has been settled for 2 years, and they don't care. They just keep sending a bill, so I keep throwing it in the trash.
Yeah. So wow. So where was this property?
We bought in Orlando at it's Westgate. It was because it was at the West Gate of Disney.
Oh,
that's where it was named.
Oh, that's where the company was named, I bet. Huh?
Yes.
Because they've got them all over now. I mean, they screw people in lots of towns now.
Yes, they do. Yeah. And we're a little closer to Branson, Missouri, so we traded for another additional fee. They allowed us to trade to that property about 10 years ago. And so it was closer for us. We did use that one a little bit more because we could drive to that one. But it was still, we just didn't use it. And once we decided that we would much rather spend our time doing other things, and you're right, if you want to change locations, they'll let you do it for a fee. It's $150 to change, or even to change the week that you go. They'll nickel and dime you to death.
Yeah. And now $1,000 to paint it. Yeah, that comes up after you've already paid $22,000 for it and used it 5 times. Or 20,000.
That was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, was when we got that special assessment.
So how in your wife's cancer, how y'all doing?
We're doing great.
So you both recovered?
Yes.
Good.
And like I said, I've had cancer twice and beat it both times. So praise the Lord for that one.
Amen. Wow. Well, I'm glad you're doing better. I'm sorry for your situation, but I appreciate you taking time and telling 22 million people Westgate will screw you, and even if you got cancer, they basically just hang up on you and are not going to get out of it until you get involved in a lawsuit against them, and then suddenly they go, oh, you said you wanted out. Who knew? Which is exactly how all these guys act. It's the only way you get out is you have to pound their face in because they're absolute scum. Hope I haven't been unclear, you guys. All right, Sandy's with us in Hays, Kansas. Hey, Sandy, tell me your story about timeshares.
Well, hi, Dave. We were in Florida in 1999 with our daughter, who was actually cheering for Hayes at a collegiate competition down there. And we were walking down the beach, and a man come up and offered us a place to have some free drinks and some stuff inside of the hotel, and offered the girls a free bicycle rental and everything. And so we went in and kind of got caught that way. We hadn't bought that day, even though we had made up our minds before we went in that we weren't. You know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up, the previous caller spent a lot more money than we did. We ended up buying in for only $6,000, but their way to get us to buy was by explaining to us that other people had to buy a week at a time, and this timeshare was done by points.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't ever buy a week. We didn't buy a specific time frame. We could go anytime, and they would buy it back from us anytime we wanted to get rid of it. And so
that wasn't in writing, was it?
No. Well, actually, it was. It was in writing. It was.
You're cutting in and out, honey. You're going to speak directly into your phone. Sandy, you're cutting in and out. You're going to speak directly into your phone.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So
You said it was in writing that they would buy it back?
Yes, it was in writing. And when we got ready to try to sell it back to them then, they explained to us that Sunterra had been bought out by Diamond, and Diamond didn't have the agreement, and so it was null and void. And I asked him, I said, well, so you can change the contract without even telling us? And
if you're
said,
Diamond,
yeah,
you can, because Diamond is God.
Now, it's exactly what they implied to us, that they were pretty much the end-all, be-all, and they even told us we asked them nicely to buy it back, thinking that was what we had signed up for. And the guy told us, he said, we will take you to court for the rest of your life. We will ruin your credit. We will take your home. We'll take everything. But you cannot get out of this. There's no way. And so we just kind of gave up for another year or so. And then I started seeing a lot of ads for it, and we were afraid to be scammed again. So we kind of just didn't do anything until I saw an ad for the Timeshare Exit Team, which had your name behind it. And
they got you out of it?
Very confident. You guys got us out of it, yes.
I'm not Timeshare Exit Team. Timeshare Exit Team got you out of it?
Well, yes, they did.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, at least you got loose from Diamond. That's like, man, that's like getting loose from a concentration camp. talking about the out-of-control, multi-billion-dollar scummy timeshare industry, screwing people left and right and getting away with it, and nobody's in their face about it. They're buying off government officials. They're buying off media. They're buying off everything trying to do this. They've been after us trying to shut us up, and it's not going to work. As a matter of fact, you're getting quite the opposite reaction. I'm going to devote entire hours to pissing these people off because now they piss me off, so it's a fair trade. This from Andrew about Diamond Resorts, which was just purchased by Hilton. The CEO is a guy named Mike Flasky. Now, Mikey, I call him. Mikey and I have been trading barbs. He calls me Davey on Twitter a time or two back and forth. He stood up in front of the ARDA, which is the Timeshare Association, and said he was going to pledge $1 million this year to putting any timeshare exit people out of business. How dare someone try to get out of their timeshare after we've screwed them? In other words, my wife and I were in Las Vegas when we were approached by Diamond Resorts representatives asking if we'd be interested in receiving free tickets to dinner and a show as a gift for our attendance to a 1-hour presentation. When we signed up, our yearly income did not meet their minimum, but the rep said, "Don't worry," which in hindsight should have been a huge red flag. No, honey. A 1-hour presentation for the timeshare company should have been a red flag because they're usually 8 hours. At the presentation, when the first offer was presented, we told them no way we could afford it. After 4 hours, there it is, of continuous better and one-day only offers, we finally gave in. The employees led us to believe it would be an investment for us and our family. If you sell timeshares, by the way, you're scum. You should get a better job. You should not be involved in screwing people. And if you don't like me saying that, that's because you're scum. If you understand that I'm saying that, you need to start looking for a job today doing something that's honorable. The employees led us to believe this would be an investment for us and our family. The one time we've used this membership, we could not make reservations in Hawaii like we desired, and we ended up in Vegas. A little trade-off there. Both have sand. We forced us into a mandatory member presentation where we were talked into upgrading. Since the representative told us we could not refinance, or we could refinance with our bank at a lower rate, we relented. This is not possible. You can't refinance at your bank because you don't own anything. Now we're stuck with something we cannot afford, and Diamond will not help us. But if you're one of the few attorneys in America that will go and represent the consumer against the timeshare industry, they will come after you. They'll come after you, the attorney. Christian is on the line. He is in Orlando. He is an attorney, and he works with other attorneys who've been sued for trying to get people out of their timeshares. Is that right? Did I say that right?
You did. You got it, Dave. And thank you for everything you're doing.
What in the world? So you have people that are in the legal profession that are lawyers that sue a timeshare company to get people out of their contracts, to abide by their contracts in some cases, which lets people out, and then they turn around and sue the lawyer.
These timeshare companies...
I'm sorry, you cut out on me. You cut out on me. Try it again.
Sorry about that, Dave. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
These timeshare companies don't want lawyers talking to them about arbitration or resolving things. All they want is for timeshare owners to shut up and have annual maintenance fees doubled every year. And my clients are just lawyers who, they recognize that timeshare industry is the last legal fraud in America. And now they're being shaken down in federal court. The big guys, you said it. I mean, they're weaponizing the courts to shake down lawyers who help people get out of the last legal fraud in America. It's shocking.
Wow. And so you turn around and rep your client or other attorneys who were trying to get people out.
That's right. I represent.
How has that gone? How many of these cases have you done, and what's your success rate?
I currently have probably 15 cases going on in state and federal court. Most of these cases haven't resolved. We haven't even gotten to a trial. You know why we haven't gotten to a trial, Dave?
Because they want to beat you to death
most,
financially.
Boom. You got it.
They want to drag out the billable hours until you dry up and die.
They want to make these guys spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars defending themselves. The insurance companies don't want to pick up the tab, you know, and so they force them out of business through litigation, and it's sham litigation. They're not investigating these lawyers ahead of time to see if they're good or bad. My guys in Missouri, they just have these salacious allegations, and it puts them out of business.
Yep.
But Dave,
they lose their law practice because they can't afford to continue to defend themselves against this company who has infinitely deep pockets. Oh, by the way, their pockets were lined by people they screwed.
Right, and they're desperate to keep them lined. My clients are just folks who they haven't given up yet. You know, they haven't given up. They're not settling. They keep going. In fact, we filed a counterclaim against Wyndham and Blue Green for antitrust. And this morning, we asked a judge to enjoin these guys from continuing any other lawsuits against my client until we resolve whether the ARDA and their buddies, Wyndham, Diamond, Blue Green, did a concerted conspiracy antitrust designed to make themselves stronger and to screw the consumers. We think that's exactly what they've done.
They announced it from the stage. Mike Flasky, and the CEO of Diamond, announced that he was putting up $1 million and challenged the other people in the ARDA to come together and collude to run Exeters out of business.
And if the FTC isn't going to look at it, that means we have to. So that's what we're doing.
Wow. I'm a little shocked. I have a huge respect for federal judges, and I'm a little shocked they're tolerating this in their courts.
Dave, I don't think they are. You know, although they started this antitrust stuff probably about 2 or 3 years ago, like really going at it. But I've noticed in the last 6 months, these federal judges, like you said, they're sharp, and the tide is turning. You can tell. There's little orders that are coming out. Like I told you, none of these have really been resolved yet. But the little orders that are coming out, they're starting to note that the dockets are being flooded with these cases that seem to go on forever and ever. And in the few cases that have had a summary judgment granted or something like that, it's usually in the favor of the good guys. So I think
but that's after they've dropped $200,000 that they didn't have in legal fees into the thing. The good guys.
You're right. And so it's going to take someone, maybe my clients, maybe someone else, to give them a bloody nose and show them that this frivolous litigation can't stand. And I think we will.
Yeah. Well, they've come after us now, and that was a mistake because I have deep enough pockets to fight them. And I have 22 million listeners, and I'm going to beat the snot out of them.
Picking on you wouldn't be my idea of a good time.
Well, they did, and it was a mistake. They sent Inside Edition to do an ambush in the lobby of the hotel where we were doing an event last week, and Mary Guerrero and Charlie McKelvey come in there, which are known for their intelligence anyway, but they do one of these ambush interviews. Mr. Ramsey, why are you endorsing Timeshare Exit Team? Mr. Ramsey, and ambush me in the front of the dadgum lobby of this hotel. But there's no way Inside Edition does that without these bozos causing it.
Yeah, right.
Because Inside Edition's not that smart to start with. Mary's not that smart for sure. Okay? I mean, she's not known for her brains. She's known for other stuff. But, oh my gosh, y'all, this is what's going on out there. Yeah, so I get. You're going to see me on a duck and cover in one of these dadgum Inside Edition things coming up this weekend, probably. But unbelievable. Hey, man, thank you for calling. Thanks for talking to us. I'm going to tell you guys a story in this next segment. It's going to blow your minds. It goes right with what Christian's saying. This is The Ramsey Show. We're talking about the scummy and multi-billion-dollar timeshare industry who flexes its muscle against anyone who dares say that they're screwing people the way they are. So I've been dealing with anything that causes you guys grief for 30 years here on the radio. And if we find something that gives you grief, we try to help you with it. If term life insurance is the way to go, we try to find a term insurance provider for you. If getting a high-quality real estate agent is a good thing, we try to do that for you. We do not endorse things on this show unless we believe in them. I don't put my name or my voice on something merely for money. And the most successful endorsements that we've done on this show are things that have to do with a problem you have, and we connect you with someone that is an advertiser to solve that. One of the biggest problems we've run into over the years is people that are stuck in timeshares. You can't give them away. Nobody wants them. You can't sell them even for $1 because nobody wants to take over your fees and your increased fees and all the hassles and all the screw-ups that we've been hearing about this entire hour. So many years ago, a couple of young guys started a company called Timeshare Exit Team, and they were advertising on a small radio station or two here or there, and they got in touch with us and said, we want to come on the Dave Ramsey Show because you hate timeshares as much as we do, and we have a way to get people out of timeshares. We have a legal process with a team of lawyers to bust up into these guys and to get them out. And so we said, all right, let's do that. However, you guys are small operators, and you need to understand when we tell people to come to you, you're going to get a bunch of business, and you're going to have to get your business act together. To say that their business exploded when I came on the air and told people Timeshare Exit Team will get you out is an understatement. Their business skyrocketed over the next few years, resulting in them getting more than 20,000, almost 25,000 people out of their timeshares. But the problem was they were so successful that two things happened. One is they're two young guys running a business, and it's hard to scale a business that fast, and they got where they weren't returning calls that great, so we're jumping on them because we're hearing complaints because Timeshare won't call us back. Timeshare won't call us back from the customer. That's not okay, and it was just because of sheer volume of business. The second thing that happened was that they were so successful that the timeshare companies, they were feeling the pain. It was hurting them. And so Mike Flasky, the CEO of Diamond, which has just recently been bought by Hilton Wyndham, Mike Flasky stands up in front of the ARDA and says, I'm going to commit $1 million to putting timeshare exit companies out of business. Anyone who comes at us to make us let our customers go that we're screwing, we're going to put them out of business. We're going to do it with legal fees. We're going to do it with PR and publicity. We're hiring a publicity firm. We're going to put a team of lawyers on this. And he teamed up with Wyndham, and he teamed up with Blue Green, and Diamond did, and Marriott, and whoever else they could get, Westgate, whoever else they could get on the list. And they decided to go after these lawyers and different companies that were running people out of timeshares. And they've gotten bad stories written about people, including they're going after me now. They've gotten the Attorney General in the state of Washington to try to prove that there was something false going on, and there wasn't. And Timeshare Exit Team, although hugely successful over the years, has legal fees in the millions and millions of dollars now trying to defend themselves against this company, and they've run out of they're running out of money. And so they had to pull off of our show. They couldn't afford to advertise anymore. They run them out of business. They're running them out of business. They're not out of business yet, but they're having to defend themselves against the Attorney General of the state of Washington. They're having to defend themselves against a massive set of lawsuits brought time and time and time and time again. And all they have done is get people out of timeshares. That's all they've done. And so that's why you don't hear them on the air here anymore. And then Inside Edition shows up and ambushes me for an interview and wants to know why I endorse Timeshare Exit Team, Lisa Guerrera and Charlie. Well, Lisa Guerrera and Charlie, even though I didn't grant you an interview in your ambush in the lobby of the Omni at the Dallas, that was so low class, you two. You ought to know better than that. You don't think I'm going to come back and put 22 million people on notice how scummy you are at Inside Edition? That was so low class. So I'll answer your question. Why did I endorse Timeshare Exit Team? Because they were doing the right thing and getting people out of timeshares after companies like Mikey's had screwed them. That's why I endorsed that company, and I did it with great pride. And they got over 20,000 people out of their timeshares before the legal fees and the bogus stuff from bogus government officials. I wonder how much he was paid. Wow. How much were you paid, Lisa? How much was Inside Edition paid by the timeshare companies? How much did they pay you? I didn't know you could buy a story on Inside Edition. I didn't think you all were that. I knew you were tabloid, but I didn't know you were that low. Or are you just so dumb that you didn't understand you were on the wrong side of this argument on the basis of the consumer? So this is why Timeshare is not on the air anymore. Timeshare Exit Team. But guess who's still on the air? Me. Me. And I'm sitting in a $300 million paid-for building. Neck deep in cash, you jerks. Bring it. Bring it, Mikey. Bring it. You have done poked the wrong bear. You done pissed off the wrong hillbilly. You have messed with me enough that I am coming after you, bozos, and I'm going to make a hobby out of you guys. And you don't understand how hillbillies work. We fight generationally. Ask the Hatfields and McCoys. They don't even remember why they're fighting, and they're still fighting. So, Diamond Resorts, Hilton, you made a huge mistake investing in Diamond, because I'm about to destroy your freaking investment if I have anything to do with it at all. I'm going to tell millions, tens of millions of people over and over and over and over again how bad Mike Flaschke is as a CEO, how scummy he is, and how these companies absolutely are screwing the consumer over and over and over and over and over again. If any of you Dave Ramsey listeners go into a Diamond presentation after hearing this, I got to call you stupid. If any of you Dave Ramsey listeners go into a Westgate presentation after hearing this and you walk into the tiger's cage in order to get a free pass to the zoo and pet the tiger, hoping the tiger won't eat you, you're stupid. I'm getting a free hotel. Buy your own hotel. Buy your own hotel. Did you hear the guy called in the first segment? $22,000 he invested and used the thing 6 times. That's a nice hotel. Where are you staying? My God, the Four Seasons in Paris, France? I mean, you can rent out the dadgum. Come on, people. Think. Think. Don't be stupid rednecks and fall for these people. Don't be stupid. These companies are straight up evil. They are sucking the lifeblood out of America's families, and we have got to stop them from doing it. And the only way to stop them is not legally. They got too much power because they're buying off lawyers. They're running lawyers. You heard that guy? They're running lawyers out of business. Unbelievable. The guy's having to shut down his legal practice because he's overwhelmed with court costs and legal fees to protect himself because he was acting as an attorney to get people out. 15 cases that guy's got right now, and that's just one guy. You know how hard it was for us to find him? We found him in 24 hours, Lisa. It wasn't hard to do a little investigative reporting and actually find out what's really going on in this industry. If you were a real reporter, oh my gosh, this is not hard, you guys. This is not hard. When something feels slimy, you know why? 'Cause it's slimy. So, Diamond, Westgate, Wyndham, Marriott, Blue Green. Who am I leaving out here? I don't want to leave anybody out. Just let you guys know, you've been hassling my butt for 2 years behind the scenes, and we just made it public. Game on, boys. Game on. This is The Ramsey Show. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.